Today, we're talking about the big decision coming up for the Chicago Bulls, and that is if they should be looking to pay Coby White $30 million plus per season on his next contract. And so before we jump into it, I first want to remind you to slam dunk on that subscribe button, just like Modest Vazelis slam dunks in games. And so in exchange for slamming on that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Chicago Bulls. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Chicago Bulls Insider family as we talk nothing but Chicago Bulls basketball. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we are talking about the Chicago Bulls big decision coming up around Coby White. And so look, after this season, Coby White is going to be a free agent. So the Chicago Bulls have a big decision here. They're either going to go ahead and meet his demands once he gets into free agency, or they're going to let him walk, or they could look to go ahead and trade him this season and get something back rather than lose him for nothing, or they could look to extend him, which I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to be an option, which we're going to talk about that in a moment. So let's start with why I think that the Chicago Bulls are going to be committed to getting Coby White back. And so got a chance to look at this article, and within this article, it talks about something that really we've already talked about here on the podcast, and it is just really why the Bulls really want to continue on with Coby White. And so again, check out this article, and within this, it's going to mention an article from Spot Track, and this was written by Keith Smith. And so you have a Bulls front office executive that spoke with Keith Smith, and so an anonymous executive. But this is what they said. It says that the contract is what it is. We probably can't extend him because the rules don't allow for us to pay him enough, a Bulls front office executive told Smith, but we want Coby to be a Bull for a long time. He knows how we feel about him. And so that was an executive speaking. We've also heard from AK as well that, look, he is definitely wanting to go with this backcourt. I believe he was saying those things here at the Summer League. And so, this isn't the first time that we've heard that the Chicago Bulls definitely want Coby White to be back with the team. And so next, just talking about why I think an extension is not going to be on the table. And this is also something that we've talked about before. And again, just referencing this article if you want to take a look at this. But it talks about it like this, that Coby White is going to make roughly around $12.9 million. And so essentially, if the Bulls were to go and give Coby White a 4-year, $89 million contract, the veteran extension worth 140% of the salary of the final season of his contract with that 8% annual raise, that would be 22.25 million per season. And so that would be what his annual would be per season. And remember, he's looking for 30 million plus, or at least the reports say that. And so, when you think about that and you're looking at the numbers here, Josh Giddey just got 4 years for 100 million. And so he just got $25 million per season. At least that's what it's saying there. We'll see how the contract looks and everything else. And so, for what Coby White has done and really how he's gotten better each season, I think that him signing an extension, with that 140% rule would really not, it wouldn't give him justice. I think that he's definitely worth more than that. And I think he's going to show that he's for sure worth 30 million plus. And so, now shifting gears and looking at why I think that Coby White is going to be absolutely worth it, just taking a look here at his numbers, you will see that Coby White has progressively gotten better. And I think that what these numbers don't show is that Coby White has really bounced around with his role. And I think that last season, you actually got a chance to see him really just kind of work off the ball, be more of that combo guard that he naturally is. And you saw that the points went up, You also saw that the 3-point percentage was right around where it was a season ago. But look at his field goal percentage. His field goal percentage slightly went up, as you can see, at the 45.3% there. And then you also see that his free throw percentage went up as well. And so you see that his free throw percentage and attempts went up. And so to me, when I see that, I think about the fact that I feel like Coby is going to increase his scoring simply by getting to the free throw line. I think that that's worth another 4 or 5 points right there. And also, too, with the way that he's gotten better each year in the league, I think he's going to increase his scoring there. And so it's not a stretch to see Coby White go 25 to 30 points a game, obviously within the offense. And then I think one of the things that's really not talked about enough is that he's trending towards getting a steal a game. And so he was at 0.9 steals a game. And I think that he's going to come in, get you a steal per game. I think the assists can definitely go back up, even though he's going to be playing more off the ball here. And so you know he can do it because he's averaged 5.1 the season before this last season. And so, I think the numbers suggest that Coby White is going to make another leap. And what that leap looks like is going to depend really, just on what this backcourt does and just really how this team plays out. Because, I think that you look at Coby White, you look at Josh Giddey, and there could be some all-star noise around them because, with now Tyrese Halliburton being down and being out for the year. And then also, too, there is no more Dame Lillard over there as well. I think that there's an opportunity for both of these guys to step up, and I think that they do. And so that's point number one, is that maybe Coby White puts up the all-star numbers. And so I definitely think that that is going to justify why you would pay him $30 million plus. And then, on top of that, I just talked about how he's improved each season, but I think that with his improvement, you really have to definitely pay him, especially if it comes down to helping this team get some more wins and hopefully get out of the play-in situation. And so an improved team outcome, I definitely think he's worth it there. And then, I think another thing that you just can't measure with stats with Coby White is just the team identity. I think between him and Ayo Dosunmu, they give the team the toughness. And I'm just not sure that the Bulls would want to move on from that. And yes, I get that these guys are going to be a little bit older, now signing the contract, but they still fit within your young core and you need that toughness. And so I think that that is something that you have to consider. And also, too, he's already shown that he can fit with your point guard in Josh Giddey. And I think that that is huge, especially when it comes to AK and Mark Eversley and how they want to build this team. They want the pieces to fit together. And it looks like that they have a backcourt here with Josh Giddey and Coby White. And I think that if they take a step forward off of what they did a season ago, you are definitely looking to go out and pay him his $30 million plus. And then lastly, what I'll say about both of these guys is they fit in well with the young core. And so, I don't think that Coby White taking a step forward would get in the way of anybody else on this team. I don't think he stops Josh Giddey. I think that he proved that last season. He doesn't get in the way of Modest Bazelis. I don't think he gets in the way of Ayo Dosunmu. He doesn't get in the way of Vooch. We'll see how this Vooch situation plays after this season. Kevin Huerter was able to come out and eat. And I also think that you're going to see that Isaac Okoro is going to come over and be just fine as well. And so this is a guy that fits with your core piece. And so bottom line, or core pieces. And so bottom line, I think that Coby White is definitely worth the $30 million plus here that he's going to command. I think that the big question is, will he want to come back to the Chicago Bulls and just really, will the Bulls be able to go ahead and convince him to come back? Obviously, because he could also do this and take less money to go to a winning situation. Like, that's totally on the table for Coby White. I mean, he's going to have a ton of options because, to be clear, there is no restricted free agency on Coby White, which is why, again, this is a big decision here, because if he does do that, the Bulls would lose him for absolutely nothing. But I think that they are investing into the fact that Coby White will want to come back, and also, too, that they are looking to pay him what he's looking for. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments, Should the Chicago Bulls be looking to pay his reported asking price of 30 million plus? I think that even if Coby White has the same season as he did a season ago, I think he's still worth 30 million. The 30 million plus part is if he increases off of last season, which again, I never bet against Coby White because he's always shown that he can take a step forward. So anyway, you guys let me know in the comments, will the Bulls go out there and give Coby White his bag, or will they look to trade him next season, or could he walk in free agency? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And as we always say, look, go Bulls, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.